Hello and welcome to Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures. And yes, I'm here in between the rain. It's a beautiful morning. I've had a few spots of rain, so I thought I'd do a quick bit of filming uh, without my coat on and my hat and my umbrellas and all those things we do when we're filming to protect the cameras, of course. Very important time of the year now for these young seedlings because it's time they were brought out from their cocoon in the lovely, warm, heated greenhouse into the real outdoors. And these come out every day now, and even when it's raining, because of course they get the sustenance from the sun and the water and all those things that actually you don't get inside the greenhouse. And it's time also to start transplanting some of the seedlings. As you see here, I have some tomatoes, and these are lovely little cherry tomatoes. They're now popping out of the bottom. There's quite a few in there. In fact, there's actually one growing down the side, which is quite amazing really. And that's going to be carefully put into bigger pots like these, and then hopefully they'll be ready for the summer months. Everything's shooting up. It's lovely. Well, I've got my cuppa. It's really, really lovely down here. So welcome to the show. Sit back, relax, get your cuppa, put your feet up, and well, I'll see you shortly here on Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures. Cheers for now. Oh, there's nothing like a good cup of tea in the fresh air. Oh, don't tell anybody, I've got a lovely chocolate ginger biscuit to have as well. Ooh, what a naughty treat. So here I am with all my lovely seedlings that I've got on this tray here. They're all, let's have a look, make sure I've got it right, 2 rows of lettuces, and they're the cut and grow lettuce, so they're individual lettuces, and they just cut the leaves off when they get bigger, so they can stay like this in this close-knit community. Down here, let's have a look at the label. We've got the marigolds, and they've been very successful with marigolds. It's funny, isn't it? Even buying them in the shops, maybe my soil's not the right conditions for marigolds, but we're going to, fingers crossed, we're having a go again. These are French marigolds, and these I got buy one get one free packet last season, but they're still good for this season. So we've got lettuce, I'm going to say we've got marigolds. Now marigolds are a very good companion plant to our tomatoes. Now over here, I'll just use this one here. This is it says a beef tomato, so these are the great big ones, and it's coming along really, really nicely. Now the other day I was talking about tomato blight and potato blight, and obviously they're a bit young for it yet, but you've got to start thinking about it in the future. It could happen. Now how does it happen, and what can we do about it? Unfortunately, once it's got hold of your plants, especially potatoes, it's very difficult to get rid of it. And what you can do though is cut all the leaves off. I know it sounds drastic. Take all the leaves off in the hope that the potatoes in the ground, because it will be well into the growing season, the potatoes in the ground haven't been affected by it. And unfortunately, potato blight and tomato blight are airborne diseases. And it's as if you get two air fronts together. It's very humid, you've had a bit of rain, and then the sun comes out. And that combination, the humidity in that moment, is deadly. Because it's an airborne virus, you can't stop it. Even if you've got netting around things, it's still very difficult to stop the disease. And once it's on there, if you go to tomato plants, what you can try and do is cut the leaves off in the hope that the tomatoes on there aren't affected. But if they are, you have to get them out as soon as you can, because it will spread very quickly and rapidly around all your plants. So once it's in there, dig everything up and get rid of it. And the only way, I'm afraid, to really get rid of it is to burn those plants. You don't need digging back into the soil, because I know it's airborne, but it will linger. It does linger around for quite some time. So we're going to keep an eye on it. We're going to keep an eye on the pressure in the atmosphere for the next few months, and hopefully we won't get it. I thought I'd got it a few years ago on some of my potatoes. Luckily, it only affected one plant, so I don't know whether it was. I think it was just very bad on that moment. Not had it yet here, but we are very open here, and we do get quite windy, so it does drag it through. So fingers crossed we don't get the mix of the humidity and the sunshine and the rain all at once, and that's the danger. So and what is it? Well, you see it. It affects the leaves first, and they go all black and horrible, and they crinkle up. In fact, here's a picture of the potato blight on the leaves. It's easily spotted, honestly. So we'll keep an eye. We'll make sure that we're keeping you up to date. As you know, I love a good weather forecast. And well, it's supposed to be horrible. I say horrible. There's lots of rain over the next few days and weeks here. But we do want it for the plants. As I said, these are now outside, enjoying the sunshine. These are all my Beth Alpha cucumbers. And these are the ones I was panicking about earlier in the season because they just weren't coming up. Now here at the moment, this is very, very heavy, which means to me I've overwatered. So I'm going to hold back on the watering for at least 2 or 3 days, maybe up to a week. And so it develops them stronger, and then we'll get them out and into the ground. These cucumbers and the tomatoes are going to grow inside my netted greenhouse this year. And I'm going to experiment with some of the big beefy ones, have them grow outside without any netting, out any protection. Except we might have a little bit once the flowers start coming because the birds will come down. And I've just seen on my allotment earlier today a little robin, a baby robin, not very big at all. He stared at me for a while, then flew off. So we have robins here. And well, that's a good thing, I think. Some people don't like robins. They think they're a harbinger of doom. And I remember Mum would never have Christmas cards in the house with a robin on because she deemed it as bad luck. I don't know why. Interesting. So if you do, let me know. Well, I'm having another cup of tea, as you can see, and I'm sat below where the water feature is, and I would like to now formally introduce you to Daisy May. And Daisy May was a gift a few years ago from my mother-in-law to Glenys. Hello, Glenys. I hope you're well. I know you're an avid watcher. And yeah, Daisy May's come all the way from Hereford. She was in Glenys's garden, but she's rearranged things, and well, here she is now with us. And she has been working before, but we've redone her into this position now. And it's vital that we have water. And I've noticed today on the allotment, we've got lots of bees turning up, which is fantastic. I love it. I've had the big, what I call them, Lancaster bomber ones, you know, the big bumblebees that make a huge sound. Incredible. They can lift that body off the floor, just amazing. And I've just here now had a little honeybee, which is brilliant as well. And they've been attracted to this. Now, this is a ground cover plant given this by a friend of mine, and basically they had an area where it was just growing and too much, and so it was onto the tarmac. So all we did was put the shovel and spade underneath and then cut it off and plonked it on top. It's come with its own source of feed, with its own soil at the bottom, and all I've done is pre-watered where it's gone and then watered heavily when it was here over the first few days, and then we've had rain and stuff. So some of it's establishing, as you can see. Some of it is slowly probably dying off, but that will grow, that will come back, and I will have to keep an eye on it because it's ground cover and it will spread. And as long as I'm manicuring it and looking after it, then it will go into places that I want it to grow into. What's fantastic about the banking at the moment is, as I'm looking across here, and I might take a photograph for you. In fact, should we do that? So here's the photograph. The wildflowers are starting to come up now, and that's really, really nice to see. And there's all different shoots and different things, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see, hopefully, the poppies. I'm looking forward to those cross poppies, the white ones with the red cross. So I hope they come up. And, well, you never know. Nature's a wonderful thing. And it's great to be out with all the wind, actually. And it's great to have the seedlings out. It's one of the reasons we bring them out. Get them used to the different atmosphere. Because I said earlier, they've been treated really well in the greenhouse. But it's very good for them to get the wind on them because it really strengthens their stems and makes them into stronger plants in a bargain. That's a very good thing. Well, I better stop rambling and I suppose I should get on with some work, really. Well, I've had to fight my way up the bank in here because I've just looked across at my lovely raspberry, and I'm sorry I'm trying not to tread on the plants I've just been talking about growing the seedlings, because look at what's here coming through the side. Nasty, horrible bindweed, and we need to get all that out because I don't want that travelling, as I say, along through the ground And whenever you cut it off, and as near to the roots as you can get it, and here's quite a big piece, get those out, it hopefully won't travel and won't spread. So I'm sorry I'm not looking at you. I'm trying to get to the root section, because what it was aiming for then, it was coming up my raspberry, and what happens eventually, it just wraps itself round and round and round, takes all the nutrients that this needs from the soil. So fingers crossed, I've got it for now, and we've stopped it, hopefully, in its tracks for the moment. Ooh, I don't like bangweed. You may have wondered, what are all these white flakes that look like snow when I'm filming, especially on the embankment behind me, all white on the black? Well, they are the flowers from my cherry tree, which I have here on the allotment. And well, it doesn't grow many cherries. It has lots of flowers, and they have really small cherries on it. And well, it's a bit of a pest, to be honest, because everything's covered in white for this period of time. But you know, everything adds to the soil, doesn't it? Now, I've just sort of sit here next to my strawberries before I go, and they're starting to come into bud. They've been open, I've let them be open, but now's the time. I'm thinking, let me just move this stick out of the way, that it's now the time to start covering them once the flowers have dropped and the strawberries appear, because we have lovely flying birds around here. Yes, flying birds, I know, what a shock. We've got and they'll just come and eat. They will just not bothered. They'll just come and have the strawberries. Well, no, they're mine. I want them. I'm going to eat them, because there's nothing more delicious than tasting a fresh strawberry straight off your plot. And we know strawberries can be grown anywhere, and they're very good in buckets. And they're very good. You can buy strawberry planters on different levels. And it's not too late to go out and buy yourself a couple of strawberry plants. And once again, I say you could actually share. Sometimes they come in trays of 6. So if you didn't want that many, why not go halves with a friend? Because I know things seem very, very expensive. These ones, a lot of mine I've got here, I've had reduced from garden centres late in the season. So you think in advance. So just keep an eye out this season, towards the end of the summer months, or even during the summer months, because sometimes they're not very good. Even though they sell the plants, they're sometimes not very good at looking after them. And there will be a reduced section where 1 or 2 maybe have gone brown and they look a bit dead. Bring them home, put them in fresh soil, stick them somewhere warm. These were all in my greenhouse to start with, and then keep an eye, and they will start putting new shoots out, and the old ones that are going brown, a bit, cut them off. And this is what I've done with these. These are all, I mean, here I've got a little leaf here, and actually that needs to come off because it's brown and we don't want it. So get rid of those. That can go on the compost heap. In fact, it could just go straight onto the ground and be dug in. It doesn't matter. It's not a disease. It won't spread. It's just, and they're all lovely, beautiful, brand new. All these here and here, all the tall ones are all brand new growth this year. And so they're obviously really enjoying where they are. I've put straw over them to keep the ground warm and to keep the moisture in, and that will really help. I'll get some more as summer goes on, and that will really help retain the moisture, because this part here is a real sun trap in the summer, because the sun starts here on the allotment and goes right across and back. So these, except for about 2 hours or so when it goes past the trees behind the camera, will be in full sun, and they'll love it. So yes, it's not too late to get strawberries from your garden centre, from the local store. And well, if you've got a friend early on in the season, a bit like myself, you can say, excuse me, because here, look, I've got some of these. I've talked about them before. They send out shoots, which will happen a lot during the growing season. They'll send out a shoot and it will establish itself. Now, if you do, get a plant pot, put the plant pot there, stick the shoot into the plant pot, obviously with soil in there, and at the end of the season you can cut it off from the main plant and you'll have a brand new plant, all for free and not to pay. So we'll be looking at that closer when mine start growing. I'll take you through it once again. But once again, thank you very much for watching Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures. It's great to have you on board. It's great to have a couple of new subscribers as well. That's really nice. So welcome to the Yorkshire family. I look forward to seeing the things that you're growing. Now, before I go, should we go across to Wakefield, to Darren, and look at what he's growing? everything's coming right. He's got a couple of new beds, so here's a photograph of those. They're ready in preparation, and it's coming along really well now. For those who have not known about Darren's allotment, he's only had it just over a year, and he's done a remarkable job. It's really establishing it. His new greenhouse is doing wonders. He's got some tomato plants. I'm so jealous. Look at these, absolute beauties. Incredible. And can you see on the bottom floor, I reckon, are they peas in a piece of guttering? I've never been successful at that. There's a rumour that you can put peas into guttering, a piece of guttering, and then when they've all grown up, just push it on and they'll grow in that position. I've never been successful at doing that. Getting it off that in one piece has always been a bit, but then I had a plan the other day. I could put a bit of netting underneath and then pull the netting and the roots would grow through that. So maybe next year, because this year I've not grown any peas at all. Darren, thank you once again for your photographs. On the next show we'll look in depth of what you've sent me, because there's more stuff you're growing all ready to go outside. And luckily, your peas that were being attacked a few weeks ago are surviving, and here's a photograph of those, and they're doing really well. And apparently you've had those under a cloche, so protecting them possibly from the birds, which is very interesting, isn't it? They're lovely things, but they can wreak havoc on the things we're growing. Once again, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time here on Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures. Ta-ra for now.